Mr. PEEKS is finally here and he's causing some chaos. From dance parties to mods to free infinite wonder weapons, from insta-killing elite enemies to secret hidden elemental damage, Mr. PEEKS may have the moves, but I have the stats. And this is how Mr. PEEKS actually works. As always with these analytical videos, be sure to use the chapters below to skip to whatever section you're most interested in or to the end for the final results. Let's jump right in because the base version of Mr. PEEKS' description seems a little odd. Summon Mr. PEEKS to our reality to create chaos. While this is pretty cheeky, it's not very helpful. So taking a look at some gameplay, when you activate Mr. PEEKS, you're going to notice he knocks down some zombies, he will distract the zombies, and start killing the zombies. At first glance, this is incredibly reminiscent of the homunculus from the Chaos storyline maps of Black Ops 4. But just how effective is this? Looking at our results, you can see Mr. PEEKS has a charge time of 90 kills. Mr. PEEKS lasts for a total of about 15 seconds. There are some weird moments with Mr. PEEKS. Technically, your charge gets used, but then it takes like a second or so for Mr. PEEKS to actually start attacking zombies. And then at the very end, Mr. PEEKS, kind of stops attacking zombies and then kind of waves at you and then disappears. It was kind of weird to measure, but generally speaking, 15 seconds is going to be how long Mr. PEEKS is there. In terms of how long Mr. PEEKS is damaging zombies, as in doing his attack, going back and forth between all the zombies, he's only going to attack zombies for 10 seconds. Even worse, he is only going to distract zombies for 6 seconds, meaning that you need to actively train around enemies around Mr. PEEKS if you want Mr. PEEKS to be super effective. This is not great, and it doesn't feel good playing. Also, Mr. PEEKS has a limited range of distraction. Only enemies within 15 meters will be attracted to Mr. PEEKS. Now, if you activate Mr. PEEKS in a group of zombies, all zombies within a 5-meter radius, that is important to note, it is a radius, will be knocked down, which is pretty good at getting you out of a bad situation. Now, maybe this unfortunately short duration and this small range can be made up for in damage, and it kind of is. He's going to deal 150% of the base zombie health, meaning he is always going to one-shot zombies. And he has a speed of 2 hits per second, so for each activation, he's available for 10 seconds of damage, and if he hits at 2 hits per second, that's a total of 20 hits. But you see, there is a little asterisk there, because if Mr. PEEKS is attacking a special or elite enemy, this reduces down to 1 hit per second, which means that on a special or elite, you're only getting 10 hits of damage. I have no idea why that's the case, but again, it's something that I don't quite like. Now, luckily, you are going to be dealing 150% of the base health to specials and elites. It's actually pretty straightforward with those. But here's where we get to the interesting part, because for this miscellaneous, there seems to be, and I've gotten a lot of reports of this and seen it in some games myself, there is a very, very weird and inconsistent insta-kill effect after you've activated Mr. PEEKS. Not only that, from my testing, this mysterious random insta-kill only happens if Mr. PEEKS has gotten kills himself. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is not intended design, because first of all, it is inconsistent, but second of all, this seems to work on special and elite enemies. And it applies to everything about your person, your equipment, as well as your field upgrades. Many times, in fact, in this clip, you can see here on round 55, I've used a Mr. PEEKS before. Mr. PEEKS has gotten some kills, but then I activate Mr. PEEKS again without killing anybody in between, and Mr. PEEKS will insta-kill Uberklaus here. That is not intended. That's not the actual amount of health that he's intending to do to an Uberklaus here. I was testing that out, but that's not actually how he works by default. It is that random insta-kill effect. Now, I have tried activating this insta-kill effect on Patient 13, but in multiple attempts, I never got it to trigger. So I don't know if this affects like big main quest bosses or not. If you have footage of that, please link it to me in the Discord. That would be awesome. But I can't imagine this insta-kill is intended, and I imagine it's going to be patched out eventually. Or if it is an effect, there definitely should be some visual effect like Mr. PEEKS, I don't know, like bunnies or something, or butterflies around your screen or something. Or you should get some sort of like audio tone, maybe a Mr. PEEKS laugh every time you insta-kill somebody, just so that we know it's intended. But like I said, I don't think it is. Now, this insta-kill actually came up in another part of my testing when we were testing up the charge time, because insta-kills change how many kills you need to get for a charge. And so if we go to our data about our charge time, you can see the random numbers that I was getting. I was like going crazy. I was like, why is it 96, 94, 90? Usually the charge time is like the easiest thing to calculate, but you can see here 86, 85, 77, 76. It's all way out of the order. But then eventually I put 2 and 2 together. Oh my goodness, Mr. PEEKS gives you an insta-kill effect, which affects the charge time. So in order to test this, I had to like put Mr. PEEKS in a corner and make sure he didn't kill anybody in between rounds. And that's when I started getting really consistent numbers here. So obviously we have the base, which is 90 kills. Speed Cola is going to reduce that all the way to 76 kills, so that's a 15% reduction. Arsenal Accelerator is going to reduce this all the way to 55 kills. And then if you have Speed Cola and Arsenal Accelerator, it's going to reduce that even further to 46 kills. And if you are wondering about Vulture Raid, by the way, go check out that Vulture Raid episode that I did. But we learned that the Fetid upgrade will give you 1 bonus kill per second you are in that smoke. And that smoke is active for about 14 seconds, so you can just reduce all of these by 14 kills if you're in that Fetid upgrade smoke for the full time. So yeah, nice and simple, very straightforward. But now we need to talk about this distraction duration. Because if you're like me, you know that I'm curious about how well this 6 seconds stacks up against things like shock charges and decoys and monkey bombs. And I bet you're wondering what sort of enemies get distracted by this Mr. Peaks. Well, if we go all the way over here, we can see a little tiny chart. You can see that shock charges will shock enemies for 5 seconds. Stuns, believe it or not, will stun enemies for 5.5 seconds, including elites, by the way. Same thing with shock charges. Shock charges are great for elites. They're great for that Uberklaus. Amalgams, abominations even. Shock charges are very underrated, just like the smoke grenades. Decoys will distract zombies for 6 seconds, so just like Mr. Peaks. Monkey bombs will distract zombies for 8.5 seconds. That's pretty good. And Casimirs are active while they don't distract zombies or elites. They are active for 11 seconds and they deal damage to at least specials when they're nearby. So Mr. Peaks having this 6-second duration is not super great. And Trick, if you're watching, I would just simply make this distraction duration the entire 15 seconds. It's a field upgrade. We can craft these at the crafting table so frequently. With Picky Eater, a lot of these, especially decoys, are just free. You can hold 3 stun grenades and get like 2.5 times the amount of distraction duration than you get from one Mr. Peaks field upgrade. That's so sad. You gotta do better by Mr. Peaks. Increase this distraction duration, because not only that, in terms of who is distracted, it's basically only zombies. Zombies, vermin, and parasites are distracted. Now, the reason that I have these checkmarked right here is because Mr. Peaks will attack all of these enemies. I just didn't want to have like 78 different forms of this effect testing thing, but they only distract zombies, parasites, and vermin. Everything else will continue to pursue you, which again makes Mr. Peaks pretty weak. I would love to see that change, at least for a little bit. Maybe they could have the 6-second duration and the zombies can have the full 15 seconds. And especially when you have a field upgrade like Ether Shroud, which is basically a get out of jail free card twice, it would be nice if we had a different field upgrade that was able to handle these special and elite enemies. The huge saving grace of Mr. Peaks is that yes, he will attack the special and elite enemies, and it gets actually pretty crazy with a lot of secret abilities that I'm really excited to share with you. But before we get to that, I did test this up against Patient 13 and the Guardian, and it appears that neither attack that Mr. Peaks does, yes, there's actually a second attack that Mr. Peaks does, neither of them deal any sort of damage to Patient 13 or the Guardian. And for the sake of time, I did not test Mr. Peaks against the Z-Rex, Sam, or the Uber Richtofen or Richtofen. Luckily, Mr. Peaks does damage the HVT enemies. Up against the Liberty Falls boss fight, Mr. Peaks was dealing damage there, and I predict that Mr. Peaks will go after the imbued Sentinel artifact bosses in the tomb. But again, I just want to let you know, be transparent, I didn't test those out. But now let's talk about some minor augments, starting with Social Butterfly. This will increase the Mr. Peaks attraction radius. And that is absolutely right. Social Butterfly will increase the distraction range from 15 meters to 20 meters. Now, that being said, do decoys, monkeys, and Casimirs have a range? They have to for co-op, right? Just something to think about when running Mr. Peaks. Anyway, Party Animal will increase the Mr. Peaks dance duration. And this is where a lot of people get confused, because a lot of people think that this only applies to the Dance Party Major Augment, and that's not the case. This is just a fun way of saying extension, meaning that Mr. Peaks will last longer with all of the augments. We go from about 15 seconds to 20 seconds in total. We extend that damage duration by about 5 seconds. Unfortunately, the distraction duration is still the same. Very unfortunate, but hey, that is what it says on the tin, that it's only the distraction, which is again very criminal if you ask me. But increasing that damage duration means that if we're hitting zombies, 2 hits per second, that means we're going to be able to kill 30 zombies. And of course, if we are going against boss zombies here, special enemies, that means we're dealing 1 hit per second for a total of 15 hits, which is better. But those two aren't the minor augments that you guys want to talk about. You guys want to talk about PEEKS' favor. Mr. PEEKS is good to have around near mystery box locations. Yes, this one is fantastic if you're near a mystery box location and you have a Mr. PEEKS, you activate him with PEEKS' favor, and he will give you a free spin of the mystery box. Now, personally, the mystery box is pretty weak in Black Ops 6, so this really isn't that big of a deal, until that is you pop a Wunderbar, meaning that the next mystery box spin will give you a wonder weapon. If you do this, then Mr. PEEKS will spin the mystery box and you will get yourself a wonder weapon for free. Now, the fun part about this is that you will not use your Wunderbar because you are not technically spinning the mystery box. Mr. PEEKS is. So you can keep spinning the mystery box and just be getting Wunderbar wonder weapons. Now, I thought, what other gobblegums could we use that pertain to the mystery box? So I threw on Wunderbar, respin cycle, and crate power, and as you can see, yes, we got a wonder weapon from the box, the jet gun, incredibly rare. Heartbreakingly, I have to respin cycle it, and yes, that indeed works. And what do you know, we got another jet gun, and then using my crate power, I can then pack a punch it from the box. So all of those gobblegums do work, but as you can see, when I used my respin cycle, it acted as though I was spinning the box, so it got rid of my Wunderbar. So just use caution. If you use a respin cycle after Mr. PEEKS has spun the mystery box for you, it will use that Wunderbar. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, you don't even need to be around a current mystery box location. It's any mystery box location, whether it's the one that the mystery box is currently at or an empty one, which in my opinion is pretty cool. That's a nice little feature. Good quality of life. Keeping the fun augments going, we're going to the major augment, Dance Party. Mr. PEEKS becomes the life of the party. And this one's pretty fun. You activate Mr. PEEKS and there's no knockdown, there's no distraction radius. Everybody just breaks out dancing. And once again, this only applies to zombies. Now, this could be incredibly useful if you get really stuck somewhere in a corner. You could activate Mr. PEEKS and just freeze all of the zombies. But this does come with some very dramatic downsides. First of all, this attack does not knock down any zombies upon activation. It doesn't actively kill zombies. And you could take that and think, okay, well, this is supposed to be the very heavily defensive augment, so if you want to play defensively, that might not be good either, because instead of the large 15-second duration, it gets cut down to 10 seconds. 10 seconds of dancing, and that's it. So upon first glance, this dance party augment looks absolutely garbage. That is until we have our very first secret ability. You see, if there's any enemies within a 4-meter radius of Mr. PEEKS, at the end of this dance party, he will explode and kill them. Now, I think that's fairly well known. What makes it interesting, though, is that this is a huge damage increase from the regular Mr. PEEKS. Instead of 150% of the base zombie health, that explosion deals 250% of the base zombie health. But not only that, the real secret ability of this is that that explosion deals shadow damage. That's right, as you can see here, I'm using this against an amalgam, and when Mr. PEEKS explodes, he is dealing shadow damage to that amalgam. Now, what other enemies are weak to shadow damage? Well, I hopped on over to Shattered Veil, waited for a toxic zombie round, and what do you know? At the end of it, he explodes, and look at all of that damage. Now, if an enemy like the amalgam and toxic zombies are weak to that shadow damage, it's going to deal a bonus 50% of that damage, so it's going to deal a total of 375% of the base zombie health. I don't expect you to remember that, so we're going to go over that somewhere else. But as you can see, this dance party is very niche. It's cool that it has bonus damage. I will say, I don't think this damage is enough. I think it needs a big buff in order for this to be any sort of useful to the community, especially with our other two major augments. Because now we're moving on to Arcane Fury. Mr. PEEKS has become a master of the elements. Essentially, you activate this and Mr. PEEKS will activate ammo mods. It's actually pretty simple and straightforward, but also incredibly powerful. Now, as you can see in the background, there are ammo mod activations happening all the time. And for the most part, from what I could tell, it uses the same augments that you have for your ammo mods, except for Deadwire. Napalm Burst seems to be the same, Turned is definitely the same, Shadow Rift seems to be the same, Lightman seems to be the same, Cryo Freeze is definitely the same, Shatter Blast is definitely the same, but I'm just not sure about Deadwire because I've never seen a Lightning Strike. It's always just the base version of Deadwire. That's probably a balancing factor. But as you can see, I've activated it, well, I've only recorded this 5 times, but we get about a 4 to 5 ammo mod activation per Mr. PEEKS. And if you're looking to just destroy hordes of zombies, this is not a bad way to go. This is probably the augment combination to do it with. And I wish there's more to talk about, but that's really it. It's just kind of awesome. But finally, we have Apex Hunter. Mr. PEEKS focuses all attacks on the strongest nearby enemy. Once again, this does exactly what it says. You activate Mr. PEEKS. If there's a special or elite enemy nearby, it's going to attack them first. And luckily, if you have something like an Uberklaus and a Doppelgast, it's going to prioritize the Uberklaus over the Doppelgast. It really does mean the strongest enemy. But here again, we have yet another secret ability. Whenever you equip Apex Hunter, Mr. PEEKS is going to get an additional 50% damage boost, not only to special and elites, but to all zombies. Now, I'll give it to you. Against the regular zombies, it's pretty worthless because Mr. PEEKS was already dealing 150% of the base health. They were going to be a one shot anyway, but 200% of the base health is really good. Now, as you can see here, we do have to remember that if we're prioritizing special and elite enemies, we're only going to be dealing 1 hit per second. So we're going to get 10 hits in total, but those 10 hits are now 200% of the base zombie health. And this is where we have so much fun. So here's all of the tests that I've ran here. You can see the 200%, 375% with the shadow damage, all of the stuff here. That's the dirty numbers, whatever. Here's what everything looks like pretty cleanly. Base version, you're gonna get 150% health with Apex Hunter. Everything is gonna be 200% of the base damage or base health. Dance Party, that little 4-meter radius is gonna deal 250% of the base zombie health. And then of course that Dance Party dealing shadow damage, so against amalgams and toxic zombies, that's gonna be dealing 375% of the base zombie health. Really clean, love it. But what does this look like throughout the rounds? Well, that's where this comes in. Now, I think with Black Ops 7, I really want to get the special and elite health for every round. It's just a tedious process, but I think I can do it over the course of some time and maybe with some help from you guys. But if we go all the way down here, you'll see at our health cap, we're gonna deal 75,000 damage to all of the enemies with the base version of Mr. PEEKS. With Apex Hunter, we're gonna be dealing 100,000 damage to all enemies per shot of Mr. PEEKS. And I'm so sorry, this is actually Dance Party. I get these confused. The naming thing this time around has really screwed me over here. With Dance Party, it's the one where he doesn't attack and he just dances but then explodes at the end. That explosion is going to deal 125,000 damage at that, explosion. And then to amalgams and toxic zombies, it's going to deal 187,000. Now, what does that mean overall? Well, it means that at least at health cap, here's all the damages that we're doing, right? That's what we just discussed, 75,000, 100,000, 125, 187.5, right? It means that special enemies with the base version of Mr. PEEKS are going to take 4 shots to kill. Elites are going to take 14 shots to kill. And remember, with the base version of Mr. PEEKS, against elite and special enemies, you're only getting that 1 hit per second, and Mr. PEEKS is only damaging them for 10 seconds. So it means that you're not going to be able to kill an elite enemy with the base version of Mr. PEEKS, at least in one activation. However, when we put on Apex Hunter, it will only take 3 shots to kill a special enemy, which I can absolutely give you evidence of. I played a lot of this, a lot of Reckoning with Mr. PEEKS, and yes, all of those Doppelgasts only took 3 shots to kill. And with Apex Hunter, it reduces the shots to kill to elites down to 10 shots. And in its base form, 10 seconds, 1 hit per second, that's 10 hits. That is just barely doable for an elite enemy if you have Apex Hunter, and if you have that elite enemy within the Mr. PEEKS range at all times during this entire 10-second duration. What has helped me immensely with this are shock charges. Shock charges, at least for base regular elites, not the HVTs, but the regular amalgams, the regular abominations, the regular Uberklauses, throwing a shock charge on them works wonders. Unfortunately, Uberklaus is Uberklaus and has a shield which heavily reduces this damage. So even though we look at this and go, oh my goodness, this might be really good against Uberklauses in high rounds, the death machine still reigns supreme because, yeah, that shield is going to heavily reduce all of that incoming damage. They just really want you to face Uberklaus head on. And dang it, I did it again. This is Dance Party, not Party Animal. But Dance Party, as you can see here, you're going to need 2 activations to kill 1 singular special enemy. Even with the elemental damage, there's no special enemy that's weak to shadow damage, but I thought it included anyway. And if you want to kill an amalgam just with Dance Party, you will need 6 activations of Mr. PEEKS. So yeah, that's not viable there. But I know what you're thinking, and I'm already there too. What if we take Apex Hunter and pair that up with Party Animal? Well, that would get you my preferred augment for Mr. PEEKS, because that would extend the duration of Mr. PEEKS. That would increase the likelihood that we're going to be able to get 10 shots of an elite, abomination, amalgam in there for however long. You got 5 extra ticks of damage just in case you need to train around a little bit. That is absolutely the way to go. And as you can see here, you're going to kill 30 zombies with each of those. You're going to be dealing 1,000,000 damage, all of this total damage with all of these different combinations. We just went over it here, but I thought this was a good visual for you too. In fact, Party Animal is just kind of my favorite, my go-to minor augment all around. It works with Apex Hunter, as we just discussed. You can see so much green here. This is awesome. Even though special and elites, you're still getting 15 hits in there, which is so good, especially if you're attacking them too, using shock charges. It's just a lot of good damage on those special and elites. Arcane Fury is really the other augment combination that I would suggest. If you want Mr. Peaks to go after specials and elites, then Apex Hunter, Party Animal, that's your go-to. If you want Mr. Peaks just to help you kill zombies, then Arcane Fury and Party Animal or Extension, then you're going to get 15, 20 seconds of really non-stop ammo mod activations, plus the 2 hits per second because it's killing zombies. It does really good at taking care of zombies. Dance Party and Party Animal technically work, so that does extend the duration to 15 seconds, which is the base duration. But remember, Dance Party actually lowered the duration, so this just brings it back up to the standard. I'm a little salty about Dance Party. I thought this was going to be a lot more fun than what it was, especially with that really cool shadow damage, man. I thought that was going to be so cool. What would be really cool is if they buffed this damage to like 2,000 or 2,500% of the base health. That way, if you got like an amalgam or an abomination or an Uberklaus right in the middle of your Dance Party, right where Uberklaus is, and then he explodes, if that was a one-shot, dude, that'd be so cool for Dance Party. But overall, I think Dance Party is like the weakest augment we have here. And I even tested out Social Butterfly multiple times actually, because Social Butterfly is supposed to increase the distraction range, but it just doesn't. With or without Social Butterfly, Dance Party seems to have a hard-coded 10-meter radius around, and that's it. Now, wrapping up Dance Party, remember what I said about Patient 13 and the Guardian. I did try to use Dance Party with this shadow damage on the last stage of Patient 13 right next to his tentacle, but unfortunately, it didn't deal any damage. But once again, for the sake of time, I'm going on my honeymoon soon, so I'm really trying to record as many videos as I can for you over the next couple weeks, and extrapolating from all of the knowledge I have from other things. If it doesn't work on Patient 13 or the Guardian, I doubt it's going to work on the Z-Rex, Sam, or Richtofen. But hey, I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am. If I am, I'll write it down in the comments. But let's recap. Base Mr. Peaks takes 90 kills to charge, lasts for about 15 seconds, but is only going to damage zombies for 10 of those seconds. It's only going to distract the zombies for 6 of those seconds, and it only has a distraction range of 15 meters. It does have a knockdown range of 5 meters, and it will deal 150% of the base zombie health to special, elite, and regular zombies at a rate of 2 hits per second for regular zombies and 1 hit per second for special and elite enemies. There's also a very weird insta-kill that happens after you activate Mr. Peaks. It's seemingly random. I don't think it's intended, and I imagine it's going to be patched out eventually. And if not, then cool, there's a secret hidden insta-kill effect randomly after you've activated Mr. Peaks, and even after he's left a little bit. Dance Party is going to make Mr. Peaks cause all of the zombies to dance. This is going to reduce the duration down to 10 seconds. It's going to reduce the range down to 10 meters, but to counter that, he will let out one final damage in a 4-meter radius that is going to deal 250% of the base zombie health, and it's going to deal shadow damage to amalgams and toxic zombies. Arcane Fury is going to allow Mr. Peaks to activate ammo mods very rapidly. For each activation, you're going to get about 3 to 5 ammo mod activations, and with the exception of Deadwire, it seems as though all of these ammo mods will reflect your own augments. Apex Hunter is going to make it so that Mr. Peaks prioritizes elites and special enemies. But not only that, this will allow Mr. Peaks to deal an additional 50% of the base zombie health for a total of 200%. This is awesome when paired with Party Animal for an extended duration. Social Butterfly is going to increase the distraction range from 15 meters to 20 meters. It is important to note that this seemingly doesn't work with Dance Party. Peaks' favor is going to spin the mystery box for you if you are in or around a mystery box location, whether or not the mystery box is there. This mystery box spin will interact with Wunderbar, Crate Power, and Respin Cycle. Just be careful, if you hit Respin Cycle, it'll act as though you are spinning the mystery box, and it will take your Wunderbar if you're doing that Wunderbar trick, which may or may not be patched. And Party Animal is going to extend the duration of Mr. PEEKS. In total, he's going to last for about 20 seconds instead of 15, and he will deal damage for 15 of those seconds instead of 10. This is my favorite minor augment because more time means more damage to bosses and more zombies to kill. In terms of augment combinations, if you are going after as many zombie kills as possible, pairing Arcane Fury with Party Animal will allow Mr. PEEKS to go crazy with ammo mod activations, killing zombies all around. But if you want the absolute best way of taking out abominations, pair up Apex Hunter with Party Animal and just watch as one of the strongest elite enemies in Black Ops 6 gets torn to pieces by a stuffed bunny. Just be aware that Apex Hunter and Party Animal work really well for abominations and amalgams, as well as HVT enemies, like in the Liberty Falls boss fight. Unfortunately, Uberklaus has a shield which heavily mitigates a ton of damage from Apex Hunter and Mr. PEEKS as a whole. That being said, at least with regular specials and elites, throwing a shock charge paired up with Mr. PEEKS is a great way to get them to stay in range of Mr. PEEKS, allowing for as much damage as possible. And if you're gonna use PEEKS' favor for a free mystery box spin, especially if the Wunderbar trick still works, then why not just throw on Dance Party and have everybody celebrate a free wonder weapon? But to be honest, Dance Party, albeit very cool with that shadow damage, I wish that had a buff. Dance Party is probably the weakest one of these augments, and I really wouldn't recommend it. In terms of any buffs that I would like to see, first and foremost, we need this distraction duration to match the total duration of Mr. PEEKS. He has the same amount of distraction duration as a decoy, which we can hold 2 of and craft more at any time at a crafting table. This is a field upgrade. It needs to be just a little bit stronger. And the other big change I would make would be to Dance Party, and I would do one of 2 things. One, I would probably increase the range of Dance Party, that lethal hit at the end. I would increase it to the 10 meters that Dance Party is actually useful for, so that means that any zombie trapped in the dance is eventually gonna die, which would be a fairly good get out jail free card. Or if they want to keep the small 4-meter range, I would insanely buff the amount of damage dealt to those zombies, just so that skilled players might be able to train an Abomination, or an Amalgam, or an Uberklaus in there for massive damage. But despite a few disappointing aspects to Mr. PEEKS is an incredibly fun, unique, creative, and totally zombie-feeling field upgrade. This is easily gonna be a lot of people's favorites. We needed an offensive field upgrade other than Dark Flare and Energy Mine, and Mr. PEEKS fills that role pretty well. Now, if you're like me, and I know you are, you might be wondering, hey Donuts, with this free spin of the mystery box and Wunderbar, couldn't you technically infinitely spin the mystery box with Wunderbar? And you'd be right. And with that, couldn't you maybe spin the mystery box with Wunderbar a lot of times and figure out the actual probability of Wunderbar? You are absolutely right. Well, lucky for you, a group of people were just insane enough to do that. Huge shout out to MZC, Chat of Duty, Demising, and ZoneX because they tested 1,000 spins of Wunderbar, and the results are not what I expected. Be sure to check out their videos here, subscribe, and stay beautiful.